What's up, guys? My name is XiX from xixsportsnetwork, and Ethan, mistaken for Bacon. And just like that, I always forget to pause this thing. But as I was saying, though, and just like that, after waiting months on months about off-season, week one goes by in a blur. But we have a lot to talk about. My team lost, but they kind of lost with a moral victory. But I'll get on that with that right now. The Rams won.
They did.
A game I didn't expect, honestly. I thought it was going to be like a little, not a shootout, but a little bit more of a high scoring game. 14-9. But with that being said, you want to go ahead and start with your week one review?
Sure,
What is your cat letting me down, bro?
I don't know.
Go for it.
Week one was fun, man. I really enjoyed every game, from Dallas and Philadelphia at the beginning up until Minnesota and Chicago and Monday Night Football. It was such a fun week, and I was so excited, for football. And it was a really good week. We had a fun day on Sunday, right? Enjoying football, enjoying some beverages and all that. And football is back.
I enjoyed a lot of beverages.
I'm excited for it.
My fault. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but week one was fun. I watched, obviously, of course, I wouldn't. I watched the Cowboys game against the Eagles. I was heading towards it more about I was heading more like I was expecting us to lose. I'm not that overzealous, and of course, the trademark at this point is that I'm not the delusional Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
But I was expecting us to have a battle, and luckily we did. The rain delay did not just get the Cowboys; it got both teams. Eagles offense couldn't get anything off the ball. Cowboys, no, yeah, I'm right. The Cowboys offense couldn't get anything off the ball. Eagles offense slowed down a lot too, but they did get that last first down to get the win. Honestly, I enjoyed that game. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, we can't talk about the game without talking about this one, right? So I got this right play. I did. Look at that.
Touchbacks now come out to the 13-yard line. Defense number 98.
Of course, we all saw what happened here.
Went viral.
I think he did. There you go. And the official was
So, of
right
course,
there.
I'm not gonna fucking miss this opportunity, right? Like, come on. Apparently, that was Jalen Carter. As a matter of fact, I found a better edit. Look at that. But my initial reaction, it was funny because for some reason my job made me go get drug tested. It was kind of fucked up or whatever. I wasn't even mad that they drug tested me. I was more mad at the fact that it happened on the Cowboys game. I was like, drug test me any other time on the day of the Cowboys game, but whatever. I got home. I showered super quick because I knew the game was gonna run late. Not that late, but run late. So I wanted to be nice to shower. That way I can just go home and just freaking relax, whatever, go to sleep.
Yeah.
But it was funny because as soon as I sat down, got the graphics ready for XiX, and I was getting ready to fucking talk about the game or whatever, watch the game. Cowboys took back the kick. I don't remember if it was a touchback or they took it back, but something happened, and all of a sudden there's a flag. And me and my stepdad were watching, and we were like, what the fuck is going on? Why is there a flag? This game just started.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we see unsportsmanlike conduct, number 98 has been ejected, and we're like, what? And it showed this. Now,
that shit was hilarious.
as funny as it is, because it's funny because he didn't even get to play snap.
Yeah.
Like, that's how funny it is. But regardless, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's horrible. A lot of people were saying that Dak spat first. One, I don't want to sound like a fucking diehard on my knees type Cowboys fan, but if you think that Dak is the type of person to do that, considering the fact that like all the bullcrap he's gone through in his life, and the way he carries himself, and the way that he's a stand-up guy, and you think he's gonna be doing that to a player, come on now.
Yeah, I know.
But regardless, he did spit at the floor. Now, was it intentional or not? Who knows? Dak says it's not, but I mean, anybody can lie. But I personally don't think it is. Spitting at somebody is compared to spitting at someone's feet is completely different. Completely different, regardless what it is. Did this give us an edge? Of course, obviously. But this gives us an edge on the fact that, like, oh, you guys only lost because, or you guys only, let's say we won, hypothetically. You guys only won because Jalen Carter wasn't out there.
Yeah, exactly.
If that was the case, I would have been laughing in y'all's faces saying, yeah, he wasn't out there because of his own actions. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Other things I wanted to talk about before we started talking about the other things that are more important. I have to make an apology to a man named Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
Now, all off season, all preseason, I've been just berating this man because Cowboys rushing offense really hasn't been great the past couple of years. Our last good running back was Tony Pollard, but he's over there at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't know who would do that to themselves, but he's over there. Last year we had Rico Dowdle, who started showing signs. I honestly thought they were going to keep him this year, have some potential. That way he can be the starting back for 2025. But they ended up shipping him off. Now he's in Carolina.
Yeah.
So that's when we signed Javonte and we signed Miles Sanders. Javonte, I saw him as like an okay receiving back, but I didn't think he could be our number one. And even then, I thought Miles Sanders was going to be our number one. But Javonte Williams, Thursday night, made me eat my words. You have a couple plays here. Wrong one. Talking about that one right now. I'm going to put it on mute so you guys can be able to hear us. But here, of course, this was after the first drive, after the whole ejection. Barrels in, right? Nice little run-yard game there for the touchdown. And then I think the next one is the one that really shocked the hell out of me. 2nd and 10, takes the handoff. Look at this, bro. Look at this, just fighting. He's on his fucking using his hand to base himself.
Crazy.
At that point, I was like, damn. Oh, I also did. Of course, we gotta talk about the last one. The last touchdown, the second touchdown. Why do you like me now? The second touchdown here, and of course, this little celebration where he does signify that we got 2 of the freaking touchdowns. Sorry, else because Ethan's cat usually doesn't like me, but he likes me right now. But yeah, so I gotta make an apology to my boy Javonte Williams.
Yeah,
he showed out. But then that's when Miles Sanders, a former Eagle, steps in. And I can't lie, I'll give him credit for this.
Nice little run, right?
Nice little, like, I don't know how long it was.
Damn.
Look at that. But look at his slow ass getting caught by a linebacker, bro.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. The reason why I did screen record this play was because I wanted to say on the show that I can't even remember the last time we had a running back break out like that.
Yeah.
It's been a while. For sure, it probably would have been with Tony Pollard back then. But it's been a while. And luckily, we got to see it on Thursday night. But then, of course, we all know what happens after Miles Sanders fucking fumbled.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of like when the rain delay happened, that was kind of like the turning point of the game.
Yeah.
But, yeah, other than that, for the other parts, Dak looked good. That's why I'm wearing a Dak jersey today. Dak looked fucking great. I've always known my quarterback was good, though, but people love to hate.
Yeah.
Pickens wasn't really involved that much, but it's his first game as Cowboys, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Our linebackers. Nice. I'm going to start off with Jack Sanborn. He didn't look as bad, but he didn't look as great either. I can't recall Damone Clark doing anything either, but again, it's only week 1. And then the one person I really want to talk about, who I've been kind of high on during the offseason, was Kenneth Murray. He looked like ass. He looks horrible, bro. Bad debut. But I'm hoping that they'll start my travel chief and Reese Theophile, which honestly I thought he was going to be a starter regardless. But instead, they started those 3. I guess we saw the way it worked out. I think if anyone's going to get replaced, it's going to be Damone Clark. Kenneth Murray, my bad. Kenneth Murray. Shawty's already been kind of saying it that you're really gonna have to earn your team, earn your spot here. You know, none of this that I'm a round 1 pick, I should be starting. Like, no, you're gonna really earn your team. That's why Blue didn't play.
That's why Wazzy Smith didn't.
That's why. Yeah, but that guy's ass. That guy's ass. I'm sure he's gonna end up getting traded. Mark my words, he's getting traded.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that once they saw how Kenneth Murray was playing, they'll put in my boy Murray's too.
Yeah.
And of course, I should have put it, but last but not least. Again, I wasn't expecting us to win. And even if we lost, but we lost in a battle, kind of like the way we did, I would have been okay with it.
Yeah.
But what made it really, really disappointing was CD's drops.
Yeah.
It was CD's drops. I'm not saying that if we would have caught it, we would have won, but it would have given us a chance.
Yeah.
And man, the first one, which was the fucking laser of a throw that Dak threw between like 2 Eagles defenders.
Oh, that's dumb.
The post.
Yeah.
And he freaking drops it. And then it was the 4th and 3, throws on a fade to CD. He dives for it, and he freaking drops it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we were gonna beat him. I'm not saying that if we caught those, we would have won, but it would have been a good chance at least.
Yeah, not for sure.
Other than that, we'll talk about what our plan is this week. That's my thoughts on the Cowboys game. You, Ethan?
All right. So.
Shit, I didn't say your fucking thing.
All right, Sam. So, my Los Angeles Rams got the season off on a great note, on a dub, right? And it's always the best when your team gets it off the dub, right? It's week 1, and last year we didn't start on a dub. You know, it was a big overtime game against the Lions. This year we faced the Houston Texans, right? And it was an interesting game, right? It was a defensive battle, and the Texans are no slouches, right? I was telling you, they have a pretty elite defense. The Rams have a pretty elite defense as well. and it showed. You know what I mean? But there's a lot that I liked, and a lot I think we can improve on. And I don't have too much to speak on, but I will speak on most of the positives, and that is that Matthew Stafford is still slinging that rock, baby. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of this talk about his back and everything in the summer, but I mean, he looks good still. He looks good. He still has that connection with Puka. And honestly, he had some good connections with Devontae Adams as well. You know what I mean? Devontae was still making grabs, but I think Puka was making the bigger grabs, of course, as he always does. So I'm really excited about the offense still. I think just Texans kind of was able to swallow them up in the red zone, and so that's maybe something we could go ahead and work on this year. But I was pretty ecstatic about that. But on the defensive side, oh my goodness, we played a really good game. Honestly, we played a really great game, and I think there was a lot of stars to look at. I think we had an interception right by Jacoby Durant. That was a really great play that helped us tremendously in the third quarter. But my favorite player was my boy right here, Nate Landman, man. And this is a guy that I was high on. I was pretty high on him in the offseason when we signed him from the Atlanta Falcons, just because I kind of looked at his stats and his tape, and I was like, oh man, this guy's underrated, you know what I mean? And I feel like linebacker is a position that tends to go underrated. There's a lot of guys that have great stats, and they're still somewhat unknown, I guess, to the casual eye. And I feel like Nate Landman was kind of a guy like that. He was in Atlanta, and he had nearly 100 tackles, I think around 80 or 90 last year. And I liked his tape, so much so that I made an edit video about him, and it was he really looked like a great player, and we needed that great kind of tackler, infield tackler last year. It was really what the big need was, for the Rams, and we got him. We got him on a good deal. I think it's like a 1 or 2 year deal, and we see here 10 tackles, a quarterback hit, and a very important forced fumble, which you can look clip Sam. We will go ahead and take a look at right here, right? So.
Tell quality fucked it up.
Yeah,
fucking Instagram.
Oh, he just peanut punched that shit out, and he covered it. And the whole crowd got lit. Everybody will take one more look at it right there, right? He Sharp throws it, and he peanut punched that shit. It was a really good play. Yeah, and that honestly kind of got me ecstatic. I can't lie to you guys, I was pretty drunk through the entire game, so I wasn't really too locked in, and I was pretty pretty happy-go-lucky about it. But it happens, these slugfests of games, and before the last couple of days, before the game, I had kind of thought that Texans could give us that because they're no slouches, right? And they have a great coach in D'Amico Ryans, and great players, and it showed, and it was quite a defense. I think if you like defense, fun battle, and yeah, a lot of positives to look at and some things to clean up, and I'm happy. Week 1 was fun, and we're looking on to week 2 now.
With that being said, I'm going to get it ready. I'll look at my gallery. I have making pictures of Chucky. No, I'm just kidding. But starting off with Thursday Night Football, or almost exposed one of our pictures right there. The Washington Commanders, Jalen Daniels and the Washington Commanders. We got special guest Kika, who is obsessed with us today, taking on the Jordan Love Green Bay Packers. Go for the Eagles.
So Sam, the Green Bay Packers landed Michael Parsons, right? We already talked about that last week's episode, but
yes, we did.
He looked pretty good. I can't lie to you. He played only 45% of the snaps in the game against the Detroit Lions, but he still played excellently. And, I was honestly kind of amazed by how the Packers just squashed, the Detroit Lions in that game, and they just kind of controlled, everything from start to finish. It was.
I just realized we didn't even go through our fucking record.
Oh,
the results.
We're going to do that later.
Yeah, I'll do it.
It was interesting, because a lot of people still thought that the Lions could be, you know, a good team.
I was right in front of the back and
That's on
everything.
the funny moments. A lot of people thought the Lions would still be, you know, a good team, and I can't lie, I was one of those people. I thought the Lions would still be the 1 seed, win the North or something. But you know, when they lost their coordinators, you know, it showed. It showed in this game. It showed in the preseason. I think it showed, you know, that there is some turnover there when you lose important pieces like that. The offensive and defensive coordinators that helped you get to a 5-2 record last year.
Yeah.
It showed, man. You know, the Packers defense just looked scary, man, and the offense was doing whatever they wanted in that game. So, Packers look really good. That's basically what I'm trying to say. They look like Super Bowl contenders. That's what I'm trying to say. But I always like to say week 1 is not the measuring stick. It's it's maybe mid-season. But yeah, for the Washington Commanders, they also did the same. They kind of like took their breeze and, you know, had a decent win against the New York Giants. I think their defense looks a lot better this year. I think that's the thing that they wanted to fix. Most importantly, and Jaden Daniels is still doing his Jaden Daniels things, right? And Debo Samuel honestly kind of looks a little bit like his former self. Can't lie to you. So a lot of positives in Washington right now too. And you know, that's one team that, you know, that's even a team that a lot of people think could win the NFC East. Even you, Sam, you said before that.
I did say that. My prediction is the Commanders win.
And so I'm excited to see this game because it is two teams that will probably maybe be in the playoffs. The two teams were in the playoffs last year, and I got the Packers though. XiX's up on the
You
set.
called it. I got the Packers.
I got the Packers though. You know what I mean. I think that they're just going to be a little bit too more overmatched. I'm not sure if this game is in Lambeau or is it in
It's a Lambo.
It's in Lambeau, guys. You guys know how they get down in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Sam, give me the Packers. You know, having quite a game against the Washington Commanders.
As Ethan struggles with his cat, I'm gonna go ahead and start with mine.
She's adorable though.
It is adorable.
Go ahead.
But I picked the Packers last week only out of hating the fact that they got my boy Micah. And of course, at the end of that, Micah or not, I've always hated the Cowboys. Or the Packers. What the fuck? The Packers.
The Cowboys.
Excuse me. I've always hated the Packers. But I'm interested. Last week I picked the Commanders, but I think that was easy. Oh, it's Giants. That one play that Cam Skedable had where he just fucking was like shoving everybody off the
Oh yeah,
that shit was nice.
That's sick.
But I'm gonna make things interesting one last time. Well, maybe potentially last time. I'm gonna pick the Commanders.
Oh shit.
One, because a lot of these games weren't hard to pick, so I'm already kind of assuming that me and Ethan are gonna have the same pick. So I did kind of play it a little bit risky, hoping for the high reward. But also because again I'm a hater, and I'm hoping that the Commanders can sit down the Packers, honestly, and they actually looks confident. So, damn, we all watching what you do. But I'm hoping that the Commanders are able to. It's like she's talking to me. It's like we're having this conversation right now. But I'm hoping that the Commanders can sit down the Packers. I'm not saying that to humble them, no, but the Commanders are a good team. This is a risky pick for me, but it's also a pick that I hope that the Packers can shut the fuck up and sit down. But if the Packers do win, I think this will be the last time I pick against the Packers, unless I actually really, really think they're gonna lose.
Even against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 4.
We'll get there when we get there. Up next, well, speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, my Dallas Cowboys take on the New York Giants.
Sam, the Dallas Cowboys. Sam, guys, fucking Kika. Alright, guys, so the Dallas Cowboys, Sam, I watched the Dallas Cowboys documentary this last week, like a week ago.
I didn't even finish watching it. Well, I'm not a TV guy. Before y'all think like he's a fake Cowboys fan. I really don't watch TV.
It was awesome. You know, I was crying. No, I wasn't. It was pretty good though. You know, it was pretty entertaining. I like documentaries, especially sports documentaries, and you know, I was impressed with this game from the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday. And you know, one thing I learned about Jerry is that, you know, he's willing to do whatever is best for business. And I was surprised when he made that Michael Parsons trade. But, you know, maybe...
Man, we're never escaping that.
Yeah.
We're never escaping
but maybe there's some positives. You know, I'm telling you, I like the return they got, and they made they made a lot of moves honestly in the offseason. A lot of free agency signings. I think a lot of low key guys, honestly, not a lot of like big guys, but low key guys. And one of them was Javonte Williams, as you spoke on earlier. I was honestly pretty high on him in Denver, so I thought that he could be, you know, that missing running back the Cowboys are looking for after they decided not to draft a running back in the draft, or besides Jaden Blue, obviously, but like in the early rounds. I mean, but
maybe like more like free agency.
yeah, but you know, it showed. You know, I think it showed that he's a fucking yeah. I should do well with the cat lovers. We should post this like on a hashtag cat lovers, and then they're all gonna we're gonna get a lot of likes, right? And anyway, yeah, Dallas really impressed me honestly by a lot of what they did, and defense kind of slacked it. I feel like in the first half, but I think after the fact that the lightning shit happened, I think they played pretty well. You know what I mean? So did the Eagles, but I think just give me the Cowboys, Sam. You know what I mean? I didn't even really speak about the Giants. The Giants, I mean, I kind of spoke about them in the Commanders game, but it looks like there's going to be some struggles again in New York this year. But it's like I said, it's a developing year. They can just develop that defensive line, develop some young players, develop Jackson Dart, who may even start this week. I think it's going to be a successful year. Nobody really expected Giants to be that much, and it's still week one. But I think the Cowboys got this, Sam. I can't see them losing this. The offense looks really sharp, and you know how the Cowboys and Giants go. So I got the Cowboys winning here.
Of course, like you said, he knows how the Cowboys go, but against the Giants. The thing is, though, Dak has always had his battles with the Commanders as of late, and the Eagles his whole career at this point.
Yeah.
But with the Giants, he does kind of own them. Yeah. Not in a cocky way, but in a realistic, literal way.
Yeah.
The Giants, the fact that they held down the Commanders to 21 points is not bad. The camp schedule, that one play did kind of scare me because, again, our run defense is kind of shaky. When we had Kenny Clark on the field, it did work out a lot better. We held Saquon Barkley a little bit down, more low. But this is a different Giants team. It's not the Eagles team. They're different. I don't see us losing this game either, and I really hope we don't.
Yeah.
Really hope we don't. But as you can see, both of us are on Dallas' side. One thing I want to point out about the whole, you're saying that the offense is on point. Nobody sacked Dak.
Really?
Nobody sacked Dak during the Eagles game.
I didn't know that.
That's just crazy. And we don't have veteran guys. Just go for it.
Cheers.
We don't have veteran guys. We don't have Tyron Smith anymore, Lyle Collins, Zach Martin, Travis Frederick. No, we have the Tylers, Smith, Booker, and Guyton, Cooper Beebe, and Terrence Steele, which I'm still not the biggest fan of him. But hey, no sacks. I'm not going to talk shit. I'm a creeper.
Yeah, I'm looking Kika, bro. We got to put a special guest Kika.
I know.
As the episode, I guess.
Probably. But what was it?
The Tylers.
So the only one that had a sack was our defense.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was, but there was only one sack in the game, and it was made by our defense. Our offensive line held them down, which gives me a lot of confidence because not a question mark. It's so much that are we thinking too much high on them basically? Tyler Guyton last year looks good. Yeah. Tyler Smith has always kind of been good. He's up due for a contract. Tyler Booker looked good too. What the fuck?
No, you got. Oh my fuck. Okay, I might have to throw it in the room. Hold on.
But yeah, as I was saying, as I was saying, Ethan is Ethan got pushed. He's gonna take Kika back. But Tyler Booker, of course, being a rookie, not even having an easy an easy first game, he had to take on the Super Bowl champs, who was led by their amazing defensive line. But he stood up, stood his ground. We got Ethan back.
Yeah. Stood
up, stood his ground, and we almost got a win. We didn't, but I think a lot of people were doubting us because, of course, they always love the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I just like being a Cowboys fan. But again, I think if you really, really knew ball, or if you are a Cowboys fan and you're following, you kind of knew that we were going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say we're going to be great or nothing like that, but I'm still going to say we're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, I do see us taking on the Giants pretty good. Another thing is, AJ Brown had no catches.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith barely had any catches.
Yeah, they locked him up.
And this is with Trevon Diggs coming back early from his injury.
Mhm.
Now that one play given up by Kyrie Elam, that was rough, but it's okay. Growing pains.
Yeah.
Deron Bland did his job. Trevon Diggs, being the fact that he came back early, he did his job.
Mhm.
And this is still without Siobhan Rebel or Kalen Carson.
Mhm.
So I still say there's a up that we're heading towards. Not there yet, but there's something that we're heading towards for sure. And I got my boys.
Yeah.
Up next, we got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Man, guys, a Super Bowl.
Oh wait, I forgot. Sorry, I gotta do a shootout.
Oh, shootout.
Wait.
All right.
Rock,
Paper, scissors.
Wait. What? Let me do it. Rock, paper, scissors,
shoot.
Right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh shit.
Shit, go.
I think the Dallas Cowboys are gonna win. Final score 34. Giants 17.
I was close. I think I was gonna go 37.
30-17.
Quoting actually one of their last games where we still had like I think it was like a week 1 game. I don't remember which year. 2019. Sad Randall Cobb. And then the score ended up being 30-17. All right, now we can move on. The Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, guys, this is a Super Bowl 40 rematch, guys. Super Bowl 40, right? So many conspiracies about it. But anyways, so the Steelers are coming in off an interesting win against the New York Jets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think their offense looked flawless, but I think defense looked suspect. You know, but I mean the Jets look pretty good. You know, they kind of rolled on the Steelers, but defense made a big play at the end. Jalen Ramsey, right, making that 4th down stop. It was insane. And Aaron Rodgers looks pretty settled in, Sam. You know, looks settled in with his new team. So I think they look like a good, like, you know, they could still be a wild card or maybe division contender. We'll see how far that they can go. That was a good win to start the season off. I mean, there is still some things that they can work on. But on the Seahawks side, I think that loss was pretty rough. You know, it's the 49ers. You know, I mean, they had it until the final minutes of the game. And, you know, they allowed Brock Purdy, you know, just to walk down even without his top tight end. You know, go ahead and win the game. Under 2 minutes, you know, left to play. So it showed a lot. I think, you know, Seattle, you know, played well on the defensive side, but they kind of just gave a big play there. I think both teams can still be, you know, very, very good here, but I think Seahawks, you know, just have some flaws to work on. And I mean, you know, I've never been high on the Seahawks, even though maybe my take might be biased to this. You know, I want the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But I mean, they do have a lot of good stuff to work with, but that was kind of a rough loss, you know, choking it that way after you kind of contained Brock Purdy the whole game, and then you're not going to go down and do that, you know what I mean? And for that fact, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Steelers are, you know, going to be able to go ahead and do what they want with Rodgers. You know, Rodgers is obviously, you know, maybe a little bit of a better quarterback than Brock Purdy right now, so I think that he'll be able to dice up the Steelers defense a little bit. I mean, the Seahawks defense a little bit better. And yeah, give me the Steelers go ahead and go into 2-0, Sam.
For me, on the other hand, that Steelers and Jets game really shocked me. We were both saying that the Steelers offense wasn't going to be as great because A-Rod's already getting up there. Wrong one. Aaron Rodgers is getting up there.
Yeah.
But Steelers defense looked tough. They made the Jets look like some Super Bowl contenders.
Mm-hmm.
I have to give props to Jalen Ramsey though. That last play where he laid out the Garrett Wilson for
Yeah.
the win, that was nice. That was nice. I can always respect the big hit, especially when it's up for a game-winning play.
Yeah.
But Seahawks barely could do anything against the Niners. Against Steelers defense is starting to settle in. This is also DK Metcalf's revenge game too.
Yeah, it is.
That's gonna be very interesting as well. I know, me too. I started thinking about it right now. I'm like, wait, we have George Pickens, who's a receiver.
Yeah.
But obviously, I remember it. But I'm gonna follow my boy here, and I'm gonna pick the Steelers as well.
Yeah.
So with that being said, another shootout. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Damn.
I'll go ahead and take the Steelers in a bit of an interesting game. I'll say 21-17.
I'm gonna go 23-20. Alright, up next we got the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Tennessee Titans.
Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
you know,
but
I'm telling you, made a lot of good grabs in that game, guys. So let's talk about my Rams first, guys. You know, obviously I talked about them a little bit earlier, but we'll talk about them a little more in depth here. that was just a great win. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, offense, got a little bit contained on some points in the red zone, particularly by the Texans defense. But I think we still made Puka made great grabs. He had like 130 yards still, and Delonte had about like 7 grabs for like 50, 60 yards. So there's Matt. I'm telling you, Matt was slinging it. Kyron Williams was still doing his thing and still having a big workload, scoring a touchdown and a lot of carries, a lot of yards. So there's still things to take away from that game that was impressive and interesting. And like I said, defense is the big catalyst. We'll see what the defense can be this year. I'm hoping this can be the blossoming of one of those years where like 2020 where we had the best defense in the league. That was fun. That was a fun year. And Chris Shula is an excellent defensive coordinator. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what happens. And we got another AFC South team. And in Tennessee, Ty and Sam, last week I made the Denver Broncos over the Titans my lock of the week, and honestly, they kind of sweated me in it. Titans defense played extremely well against the Denver Broncos, which is something I didn't see happening. And I'm a little worried, maybe this game could be like last year when my Los Angeles Rams in Week 2 played against the Arizona Cardinals in a similar situation and got absolutely mopped.
Yeah.
But this year it's a little bit different. Every year is different, and it's gonna be a national. Good vibes, right? Out there, country town. I do think that we can go ahead and grab this win here. Hopefully, I think it'll be a good game. I think even though a lot of people may expect us to stomp them, I think it could be a competitive game. Honestly, I wouldn't doubt that it could be. But I got my Rams, Sam, taking advantage of the young QB, young rookie, Cam Ward, and that defensive line may feast. Who knows? But I got my Rams either way.
It's funny because this is like a straight week where I put Tony Pollard as a Titans background, but that's because besides Cam Ward, I barely found out today that Calvin Ridley's still playing with them and Tyler Lockett. I kind of forgot about him.
Yeah.
But the Rams, I guess I want to say they struggled because they played a Texas defense was pretty strong, but they weren't as high power as we're used to.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua actually got that cut in his eye.
Yeah,
he was all bleeding all over his face.
Yeah.
But with this game, I'm surprised you didn't make this one a lot of the week, honestly. But if you're not trying to jinx yourself,
I would never do that.
But this one shouldn't even be too hard for anybody who's predicting to make a prediction out of this one. Obviously, the Rams are going to take this one. I got to sneeze and I'm trying to fight it.
Yeah, shootout time.
Alright, my bad. Anyways, so I picked the Rams. Ready? Come on, paper, scissors, shoot.
Damn, winning today. I got my Rams winning. We'll say something a little modest. 27, 16.
I'm going to go 31 to 20.
Nice.
Alright, up next, we got.
Oh shit, the Bills versus the Jets.
Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Jets.
Guys, oh my goodness, the Jets looked phenomenal. The Jets are going to the Super Bowl, guys. JET. So they look really good though. I can't lie to you. Maybe there is something changing in New York. They looked excellent. I feel like they should have won that game, but what happens, right? Happens all the time. Can't finish the 60 minutes, man. Can't finish the 60 minutes, but I think that actually is a really good statement because it carries on with the Bills. They finished the 60 minutes against the Baltimore Ravens, and we were watching that game, Sam. We were, Sunday Night Football, everybody had already left. Me and Sam watched football all day together with everybody here on Sunday, and, Sunday Night Football came around, and the Ravens were just, mopping them, sadly. Just running all over them, but doing whatever they wanted to do. Throwing it to Zay Flowers, running over Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson.
Alright, more technical difficulties, but continuing.
Alright, so, the Jets look a little bit impressive this year, can't lie. But the Bills are the Bills, and, they're the rulers of the AFC East so far, ever since the Patriots dynasty kind of, cooled down. I feel like it's going to be, an interesting game. Maybe more interesting than people think it is. It's going to be, but I feel like the Bills got this in the bag, Sam. I got the Bills taking this one to 2-0.
Yeah, this one should be easy. Jets did shock me a little bit. Jets did shock us a little bit, but Steelers are not the Bills. We saw the comeback the Bills did on Sunday Night Football. I don't see the Jets making this one at all. This would be great. We're not even nobody.
Like,
Also another corner. But I do got they do got the Bills winning this one as well. All right, another shootout.
another shootout. All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ow, man.
Damn, I'm winning today. All right. I got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills make you want to shout. Stand up and shout. You heard that song? It's a good song. 35. Dude, we'll say something like 27, Sam.
Damn. All right. And then for size, we'll have the Buffalo Bills as well. I'm going to take them 30.
You gotta play the Bills song.
I don't feel like waiting for that right now.
Yeah.
Up next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Guys. The Bengals, guys. Who they? Alright, so the Who Days, they look a little shaky, Sam. I'm not gonna lie, against the Dog Pound in Cleveland. I don't know if it was in Cleveland or Cincinnati, but I thought it was Cincinnati.
Shit.
Yeah.
Ohio.
Ohio, there you go. But they're still, the difference from this year and the previous years is that they got their year off to a win. So, that's all that matters, right? They're 1-0. And, Jamar Chase got locked up actually in that game. I think he only had like 30 yards, something like that.
Yeah, our fantasy team showed.
Yeah, that was crazy. Crazy to see. But they're moving on, and they're moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who was a team that surprised me last week. With their win over the Carolina Panthers. I thought the Carolina Panthers were going to do what the Jacksonville Jaguars basically did to them, but I don't know. Jaguars look a little bit different this year, Sam. I'm not gonna lie. After that win, it was only 1 week, but I think this would be a pretty good test for them against a team that, even when they struggle, I think a lot of people are like so high on the Bengals.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They're kind of like one of the few teams I've ever seen that even when like they're struggling, people are like, oh, they can still go to the Super Bowl, they can still go to the playoffs, which is crazy to me. But I mean, they are a good team. They have a great team, and it'll show this week because they're gonna bounce back from their little bit of a slow performance and go ahead and take a win. I think Jaguars will give them a bit of a fight. I'm telling you, I think Jaguars, really impressed me last week. But it's the Bengals, Sam. The Bengals, like I was just saying, a lot of people think they can go to the Super Bowl. Maybe they could. And I think they'll be on track to do it, and they'll win this game, Sam.
And of course, for me, I put hold on, my bad. Anyways, the Bengals did kind of struggle on the Browns, and the fact that they locked down Jamar Chase, which is everybody's like, if you weren't going Saquon, you were going Jamar Chase in fantasy leagues. But it was kind of odd to see, but I think it could show that maybe there is a way to lock down Jamar Chase, which is Joe Burrow's number one weapon besides teammating.
Yeah.
But as much as the Jaguars did look good against Carolina, I do not see them winning. Well, I am going to take the Bengals for this one.
Yeah.
This is like our 5th shootout. But I see this as like a redemption game for the Bengals. They do, well, not redemption. I do see this as a game where I think the offense will start to click and start to score a little bit more on the Jaguars than they did against the Browns. Maybe the Jaguars have something working, but it's not going to show against Cincinnati Bengals. That being said, another shootout. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah, your first win of the day.
All right, I'm going to go Cincy winning 28-17.
I'm going to go Bengals winning. We'll do 23-20. Damn, a close one.
Up next, we got the San Fran 49ers taking on the New Orleans Saints.
Damn, Sam. It's going to be the San Fran 49ers versus the New Orleans Saints. So, it was a rough loss for the Saints against the Arizona Cardinals at home. And, I think there's a lot they can improve on. And it may be for a rough year for the Saints. I mean, I think they have a good roster, but it's the quarterback. Ultimately is they have two young quarterbacks and they don't really have a veteran or anything. So it's gonna be a growing pain year maybe, and we'll see what happens with this game. On the Niners side, they obviously they eked out that win against the Seahawks. They played Brock Purdy played a little bit rough, but overall they got the win and they played right when they needed to. But we just got news today that George Kittle was going to be on IR for a little bit, a couple weeks, and I'm not sure what other injuries they may have, but they actually cut Jake Moody finally.
Yeah, they
That was
did.
missing on the pick, so maybe maybe there might be some silver linings here. And even despite of injuries or kicker issues, I feel like they can win this game. Like I said, I do like the Saints, but I don't know. It seems kind of like they got off to a rough start, and the Niners, are going to want to win this game, obviously. But they are kind of bouncing back. And Robert Saleh's got that defense kind of back to where he left it when he became the coach of the New York Jets in 2022. So I think it's gonna be a good game for the Niners. I got the Niners supposed to be winning this game ultimately, Sam, and yeah, so nothing more to say there.
Yeah, this one wasn't really. A lot of these games are not as hard to pick as it was in week one. But this one for sure was a given. Niners the Seahawks held down Brock Purdy pretty good, and then now without Kittle even longer, it's going to be interesting as well. But the Saints going through cap hell, somebody on franchise thought they could pay all these players, and it's not working out now. But now, I don't know. I don't see a way that the Saints can beat the Niners. Of course, they struggle against the Cardinals, NFC West opponents of the Niners.
Yeah.
This one's easy. I got the Niners. Another shooter. We got the nice and Purdy. All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah,
All right, I'm catching up. I'm going to go with the Niners taking it. Nothing crazy. 21-13.
So I'll go Niners, obviously. What should we do? What should we say? I'll say 24-14.
Next. The Cleveland Browns taking on the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, guys. So last week for the Baltimore Ravens, we all saw what happened. Unfortunately, they came out looking like they're going to be the Super Bowl champions, and unfortunately, they kind of fumbled that away, Sam. Obviously, the Bills came storming back within a matter of like 9-8 minutes, and it was pretty insane to see. It's kind of rare to see something like that. And it's rough, but it's week one. That's what I always kind of look positively at when it's like October or September. You take a rough loss, look at it as it's week whatever, and it's not too far gone to where maybe you have to worry as much in November, December. You know what I mean? But obviously the Ravens are the Ravens. They're probably going to be a team that's going to be playing in January, and they're going to be mauling people. On the Brown side, like we said, I kind of talked about them a little bit in the Bengals game. They kind of gave the Bengals a little bit run for their money, only losing by 1 point and locking up Lamar Chase and T. Higgins, and even Joe Burrow. He only had like 100 and something yards and a touchdown. So it was really an interesting game, honestly. And they're a well-coached group, and Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco. You know what I mean? He's a decent bridge quarterback, right? He's a veteran now. I forget how old he is now, but
probably like 80.
Yeah, like he's almost like year 17 in the league already. So it's crazy, super crazy. And yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game. And I thought about this for a while, and I don't want to disrespect the dog pound for all the reasons I just mentioned. I like their coaching. They have tough mentality, tough players. But this is my lock of the week, Sam. The Baltimore Ravens cannot lose this game. Sam, they're 0-1. I don't know why he says 1-0.
Yeah, I told you not to mention it, bro. I forgot to switch
I forgot about that. I'm sorry. They're 0-1. And Sam, you can't be 0-1 and be a Super Bowl champion in your mind and lose to the Cleveland Browns, Sam. It doesn't happen. If it happens, I don't know. They're not. I don't know if they're a real team, Sam. I don't know. So put your rent on it. Put the house payment on it. Put the mortgage on it. the Baltimore Ravens are gonna stomp the Cleveland Browns in my lock of the week.
Imagine they lose, bro.
Big Stan. I know, you say that every time.
I do, but it's because like
I think I've been undefeated so far in my lock of the weeks, but knock on wood.
I think it might. We'll keep track of it this year. But yeah, I'm just gonna backpack up what Ethan said. Ravens cannot lose this one. That would be worst embarrassing loss.
Yeah.
Honestly. Even though it's barely week 2, I think it will be the most embarrassing loss of this whole entire year. The way the Ravens obviously had their lead. Again, they lost it. That doesn't mean they're not a bad team. They just couldn't stay consistent, keep up with the lead. But yeah, if they lose to the Browns, like, it's gonna be very, very disappointing. But with that being said, of course, mine is gonna be another shootout. With that being said, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, my bad. Go over.
35-13 Ravens.
All right. Last time we did a shootout, first lock of the week, I said 42-14 Broncos and Browns. Didn't work out, obviously, so I'm gonna go. I can't see them not scoring 30. 35-17.
35-17. Alright.
Wait, you picked 35 on?
Yeah.
No, okay, I think correct. 32-17.
32-17. Alright.
All right. Up next, Chicago Bears taking on the Detroit Lions.
Oh god, the Bears, the Chicago Bears. They looked excellent on Monday Night Football up until JJ McCarthy. Oh man, guys, that was an excellent game last night. But JJ McCarthy, the Michigan man, he came to play in the fourth quarter, guys. He absolutely diced up the Bears. JJ to JJ was the connection all fourth quarter. And I'm telling you, the Bears defense looked so impressive, right? Dennis Allen, the former head coach of the New Orleans Saints the past couple of years, now the defensive coordinator of the Bears. And we see that a lot, when former head coaches that didn't really pan out well come back and, back to their positions that, got them the jobs in the first place and they excel. But I don't know what happened late in the game. It's just similar to the Buffalo Bills game where, they just came back and, it was a rough loss for Chicago. But, there are some things I think take impressively, take in stride. They look a lot more impressive than the Bears that I grew up watching. So, you know what I mean? So they can take that in strides, and maybe a little bit more impressive than the team that they had a couple years ago when they went to the playoffs as well. And for the Lions side, that was a rough loss, even rougher loss against the Packers. We talked about it a little bit in the Thursday night opener earlier, but that was just a rough loss, Sam. And I'm not sure whether it's the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator leaving last year that affected them, or maybe turnover of players and all that. But that was just, they got absolutely mauled by the Green Bay Packers, Sam. It's gonna be an interesting game here, but I got the Lions, Sam. I can't hate on the Lions. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be a close game because they don't really look as sharp as they were last year. But they still got that squad. They still got Dan Campbell. A lot of people are starting to lose their faith in them, but I still think they're gonna be a good squad. Bears might be a good squad too, but I think Lions are gonna win this game, Sam. They're gonna get themselves on track with a 1-1 record in week 2.
Honestly, I think this could be after the Bears' performance on Monday. I was actually in Silver City, New Mexico, my favorite place in the whole world. I was there for work, and luckily the TV had ESPN, and I was watching it, and honestly, I was watching it while editing. Eventually, I wanted to lay down, just relax before I went to sleep. And I was watching the game, and I was just like, damn, Caleb Williams is good.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't get the win, but still, it was a shock. I thought that game was going to be a 17-13, boring snooze fest. Instead, they gave us a game.
They did.
Now, do I think they're going to beat the Lions? No, I do got the Lions winning. I feel like this is going to be a scary game to watch if you're a Bears fan, because it's going to be a game that the Lions come back for some tension.
Yeah.
And they're going to take it out on the Bears. So with that being said, let's shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I got your way. I got the Detroit Lions winning this game. Final score of 24 to, we'll do something like 17.
I'll go 24. No, 28. 28-24.
28-24.
Right. Up next, the Denver Broncos taking on the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, guys. So this is our Colts. This is our shit, guys. Oh my goodness, the Indianapolis Colts fucking shocked the entire football world in Week 1. And they absolutely blew the brakes out of the Miami Dolphins, guys. I was fucking impressed, Sam. And I was telling Sam, like, I mean, obviously I mentioned it in Week 1 pick'ems, but it was Jim Irsay night, right? They were putting Jim Irsay, their late, he passed away this summer, and their owner in the Hall of Fame, and you know, it showed that, I suppose, you know, they really, you know, played for him. They played real well, and I was just impressed. You know, what I mean, I was impressed by the Colts, honestly. You know, I know the Dolphins aren't really the sharpest of teams right now, especially with all the drama and everything. But I've said it before. I like Shane Steichen as a head coach, and it was real impressive to see what Daniel Jones, you know, did with them, you know, and you know, it's impressive to me because, you know, there's a lot of teams that people think that, you know, that quarterback is carried. Like, let's say the Eagles, you know, a lot of people think Jalen Hurts, the squad, and I don't think you can make that argument for, you know, Daniel Jones, because the squad is talented, honestly, and Indianapolis and the defense has really good pieces, and there's a lot of like decent offensive talent. The line is real good. With Quentin Nelson, right? He's been quite like all pro last couple of years, but it's not like as elite as other squads, you know. And this guy Daniel Jones had quite a game, you know. He had like a passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, like 244 yards. Crazy, you know. It's crazy what happens when you leave the New York Giants. You know what I mean? On the Broncos side, they had quite a struggle against the Tennessee Titans. Kind of highlighted it earlier, and they still won though. Like I say, it's always important when you win. And they're still, you know, aspirations are still, you know, keeping up. They're still going, and it's gonna be an interesting game here, Sam. And you know, for that reason, I think sometimes you got to make some bold predictions. There's always an upset every week, and for that reason, my upset of the week is the Indianapolis Colts taking down the Denver Broncos and heading to 2-0 on the season, Sam. That's what I believe this week.
Crazy.
That is crazy, huh?
All right, but I'm gonna say this now as I write down early. If the Colts win, I better see you quote this fucking guy.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We
That's hilarious.
This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love them.
That's just so good, buddy, bro.
Beat the Jags.
Obviously, this is for when they play the Jags in preseason.
This is our team. Go Colts.
It's funny stuff.
Alright, trying to find our fucking the graphic area. So, oh, I'm not getting the right one. I didn't do this too. It's gonna be very hard to find now. Alright. As I was saying though, believe it or not, like that's like my first introduction to a Colts fan ever. And I was just scrolling through Instagram, minding my business, about to get a shit or something, and that guy just came up, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
But as he's saying, upset of the week for the Colts, I'm gonna go opposite. Broncos didn't look well. They looked okay. They didn't look as good as we thought they were gonna look. They looked okay. They take on another AFC South opponent. Fortunately, I got the Denver Broncos taking in the win.
Alright.
Now it's funny because I think again a lot of these games were kind of like easy to pick. This is like our one game where we don't have the same pick, so it works out. But yeah, I got the Broncos winning. Up next, we got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Carolina Panthers.
Alright, guys. So Panthers, it looked rough, guys. Honestly, the Panthers were my sleeper team pick of the year. But it's not looking good so far, Sam. They played a really rough game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, you know, I'm still high on the Panthers. I still think they can be, you know, a good team this year, right? But Cardinals are another team that a lot of people think is that sleeper team of the year. And they might be, honestly. They had a good performance against the New Orleans Saints, right? And there's positives. Positives to look at ultimately. And this is an interesting matchup because the Panthers always seem to beat the Cardinals. Yeah, last
Right,
year.
that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking too.
And that's why I'm kind of having a rough time picking it. But I mean, whenever it's like a division rival, I kind of always pick my rival just so that if they win, I have something to have positive that week, which would be the point for the week, I suppose. And if they lose, I can just be happy, no matter what. But that's why I got the Cardinals set winning this game. Oh, I think they could win it. I think they're changing. Something's changing in Arizona. I'm kind of a little bit worried about it. But let's see what happens this week. It'll be a good game. I think the Cardinals got it, Sam.
Of course, and I feel like I open up every pick. Of course, I have something that. But I like how you mentioned it though. It does seem like the Panthers always have the Cardinals number. It's kind of funny. Every time they play, I always think about the 2015 playoff matchup where Cam Newton and the Panthers beat them. I think it was like 31-17.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Panthers look rough against the Jaguars. We're saying maybe the Jaguars are building something, but it could also be that the Panthers just suck or something like that. But regardless, if they were stuck or if it was just because of the Jaguars, I do have the Cardinals winning as well. Low-key, I looked back because I didn't remember if I did pick it or not. But that means it's another shootout. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
You got me.
I'll go 34-20.
34-20, all right.
Score.
Oh shit, that's right. I gotta put that. I forgot. I like that. I'll take 24-20. No, I'm just kidding. I'll do 35-20. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, dude, for real.
28-21. Oh shit. Alright. 35-20.
I'm next.
Hawk Tour versus Kermit? Oh shit. Special graphics.
I didn't tell you to.
What the fuck?
I turned around, I looking forgot, and I just saw Kermit. Yeah, Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs, which is a good game, I'm not gonna lie. But I saw the opportunity, so I had to take advantage. Go for it.
So, it's the Super Bowl rematch, Sam. Oh my.
Week 2.
In week fucking 2. And it's only like on Fox or some shit. I think
It's like a 2 o'clock game.
I think it's America's Game of the Week though, so it'll be national. But it'll be interesting, Sam. You know what I mean? The Eagles last week had a tussle with the Dallas Cowboys, and obviously their main man Jalen Carter was out because of obvious reasons I talked about earlier.
Bet on that thing.
But they still had things to look positively at. I do think one thing that negatively impacted them was Dory Jackson, cornerback, and they had some lacking cornerback play in the game against the Cowboys.
Dory Jackson's fucking dog shit.
Yeah,
he's been dog shit.
It's true. So we'll see what happens with this game. I mean, I don't think they have to worry too much because we all saw Sam Xavier Worthy unfortunately got injured in that game.
The other guy on my fantasy.
Yeah.
On 2 of my fantasy.
Oh yeah, exactly. And Rasheed Rice is obviously suspended for about 5 or 6 games, as we all know. And we all know.
Yeah, you're bringing all this shit up, and now we're considering. Go for it.
And it's interesting. It's interesting. We'll see what happens with the Chiefs. I do think Patrick still made great plays. Boy Patrick, he still made good plays in that game against the Chargers, but I think Chargers just had executed way better and on every facet of the game. And the Chiefs kind of just showed up to the game a little bit late. That's really what happened there. And this game's going to be interesting, Sam. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. And, I always usually pick the Chiefs. I love the Chiefs. They've saved me from releasing the Niners win 2 Super Bowls. But unfortunately, even though I dislike them, I got to take the Philadelphia Eagles, Sam. I just think they played a hard game on Thursday. I think they're going to be even more fired up in this game. I got the Eagles, Sam. I think it's an Arrowhead probably. I got them winning this game.
Yeah,
so
I think so.
It's going to be a good game, though.
Fuck the Eagles. No, I'm just kidding. Because now I'm thinking he brings up a lot of good points. The fact that Worthy's not gonna be there and Rasheed Rice is already not there. Obviously leaving Taylor Swift's bitch, so it's fuck. But I already put the graphic. I'm gonna commit to it. I am picking the Chiefs today.
Damn.
Now, this isn't, obviously I hate the Eagles, but this isn't really me being a hater towards the Eagles. It's just more that I noticed we were picking the same team. So I decided this is a game that's safe to risk a risky pick. So I decided to do that. If the Eagles lose or win, I'm not going to be surprised. But so that was my reasoning why I picked this. And I mean, bring up a lot of good points. The Eagles, though, like, I mean, they did kind of struggle against us. Saquon only had like 60 yards.
Yeah.
They had no sacks on us. Of course, this was not Jalen Carter, but they had no sacks with us. AJ was shut down. Devontae Smith was kind of shut down. So there's a chance that the Chiefs can't take it. But without two offensive weapons, besides Kelsey, of course, it's going to be very interesting. But
Yeah.
I'm still going to commit to it. I pick the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Up next, our Sunday night game. Not our Sunday night game.
It is
It is, right? Yeah. Atlanta Falcons taking on the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, guys. So Sunday Night Football was insane last week, and it's pretty good this week. Not that I don't think it's that insane, right? Because last week was literally two of the AFC giants. But this week, I think it's more of some NFC hopefuls, really. And JJ McCarthy, sit there. He absolutely diced up the Chicago Bears last week, as I mentioned earlier in my overview of the Bears. It was a good game from him. It looked rough first 3 quarters, but they clicked. They clicked at the right time, and the defense clicked too. And Kevin O'Connell, he's an excellent coach. I'm always high on him because he was the guy that was the offensive coordinator for the Rams when we won the Super Bowl. So I know what he can do. I know what kind of coach he is, and he's an excellent piece of McVay's coaching tree. And he's always put the Vikings in a good spot. And so they were able to bounce back, and they're 1-0. And Falcons, on the other hand, they had also honestly a pretty good game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they were my pick. Unfortunately, they lost by 3 points in that game, but it was a good game, and I think they showed a lot of great things. And a lot of people think they're going to be in the playoff conversation, and I think they showed those people good things there. I think it was a really interesting game. And it's gonna be Sunday Night Football. I'm telling you, I think it'll be a good game here. Yeah, I'm not sure who's gonna win. I'm not gonna pick Sam. I always do that stupid ass joke. I got the minute. Did I take the Vikings today? I forgot.
I forgot too. I can't lie. I
got the Atlanta Falcons, guys. It's because fucking Vikings look good. You know what I mean? But I got Falcons. I gotta come up with the graphic, right? Like Sam says. I love you, JJ McCarthy. You're awesome. But I got Falcons. They look strong, and they're also another team that maybe will not want to, start the season off 0-2, with how good of a group they have. So it's the Bijan show, Texas man, and Phoenix too. But I think it's Bijan's world in Atlanta. So I think the Falcons get their win, 1-1.
There you go. Okay. So yeah, low-key, as I'm not gonna lie, while he was doing his whole synopsis or whatever, I low-key forgot who I picked too, and the whole time I was like, bro, who the fuck did I pick? But JJ McCarthy and the Vikings, man, they again, that was another quarterback I was low on. I really didn't think he was gonna be that great. Of course, it's only week 1, but to come back like that in your first NFL game is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Good for him. But like you said, it's the Bijan show. You know what Bijan is? A fucking longhorn. I got the Falcons.
Yeah.
That's another show. 1 second. Right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah, you got me.
Got the Falcons taking it 27-19. Right,
27-19.
Scored.
I'll take the Falcons taking it. Pretty good score, actually. I'll do 28-19. Oh shit! Imagine I get it.
Up next, we got. I'm just kidding. It's my graphic got there, but. Ooh.
Oh shit!
What? Oh, I was like, why is there a ram there? CJ Stroud.
Bum.
Up next, the Tampa Bay Bucks taking on Houston Texans.
We got a fucking doubleheader on Monday Night Football, guys. The Monday Night doubleheader, Sam. Are you ready?
I am ready.
For the double night Monday header. It'll be a really
Double night Monday header.
Double night Monday. It's gonna be a good game. The Bucks. They look solid, and I just talked about them. In that game with the Falcons. Emeka Egbuka, guys, he's looking like an excellent first-round pick. and an excellent wide receiver that's going to be that next big wide receiver for the Bucks. They're just throwing wide receivers on trees, Sam. I don't know what's up with them. But it's looking excellent. They're picking up where they left off last year. And for the Texans, we mauled them. You know what I mean? I can't lie, we absolutely mauled them. But like I said, it's week one, and a lot of things that they can fix and pick up. But offensive line looks to be a struggle for the Houston Texans this year. Can't lie. But they're a little bit lucky because the Bucks, they don't have as strong as a defensive line as they did when they won the Super Bowl. They still got monsters like Vita Vea and Greg Gaines there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this game. It's going to be Monday night at 5 p.m. I think it's in Houston. I'm not too sure. But, it's going to be a good game. But, Sam, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning this game. You know what I mean? I do like to say that I think, you don't want to get off on 2. And it's going to be rough for Texas to bounce back from 0-2. Especially now that maybe the Jaguars and Colts might be interesting teams. But I just think Bucks got this, Sam. They're 1-0. They're gonna be 2-0.
Oh shit!
Spoiler.
Oh, spoiler. Yeah, I picked the Bucks. I'll spoil that. Yeah. So this is gonna be another good Monday night game. But I am a Mike Evans fan, so I could be biased. But I got the Bucks as well. The Texans, they haven't really been. Their offense wasn't really clicking as much as they wanted to, especially against a really good, solid defense like the Buccaneers. It's gonna struggle.
Yeah.
But on top of that, with my boy Mike, and of course, I can't never say his name. The Ohio State receiver.
Egbuka.
It's cool to see Ibuka step in again. Like they are growing receivers out of trees. It's crazy. Mike Evans has been in the league for 11 years. Crazy. I remember when he used to wear for my helmet nerds out there who people actually play football, the old Rebel Speed with like I don't know what model was, but had like all this mesh right here.
Yeah.
I remember when he used to wear that, and now with the Speed Flex. But it's crazy seeing how much he's grown, how productive he still is, and then thinking that without Godwin right now, he's still playing.
Yeah,
he's still playing. I'm thinking it's last year. Godwin's still playing, but without McMillan, the guy that freaking almost died on the field, that shit was scary.
Jalen McMillan.
It's cool to see Ibuka step up and of course become another good target for Baker Mayfield. But like as you can see in the graphic, I did that the most.
Yeah. Shootout time.
Shootout.
Final score, Bucks take it 27-20.
Good score. I'll take it 26. Alright. Last but not least, for one good Monday night game, the Raiders.
Oh man.
Las Vegas
sucks.
Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. At this point, I'm only talking shit because my brother does watch the podcast. But
guys, the Raiders suck, guys. There were some positives from the Raiders, and what they did in their win against the New England Patriots. It kind of surprised me. I thought New England Patriots were going to be able to close that one out. It looked a little bit rough with their first game in the era. But I think the Raiders, they I don't know. They got Geno Smith and he played well, but there is still like some flaws in I think with the receiving core. But I think the Chargers honestly have quite a lot of great in the receiving core, and they honestly impressed me. The Chargers. I mean, both teams impressed me in Week 1. I think the Chargers impressed me, really a lot in their win against Kansas City Chiefs. It's gonna be quite a. I don't know if it's gonna be because you remember that game where the Raiders blew them out like 63-7.
Yeah.
So it was like quite a while. I mean, that was later in the year, so it didn't really matter. But it's just like, because everybody they're big on Justin Herbert, and that game kind of validated a lot of people's feelings about Justin Herbert. But I don't know, we'll see. But I do got Justin Herbert and the Chargers winning. Madison Beer got him acting different, so we'll see.
All right. That's sorry. All right. Yeah, Raiders in this.
Yeah, Raiders, I guess.
I am shocked that they won. Well, I'm not shocked because the Patriots are kind of like a question mark with Drake May at the
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, of course, at this point, I'm not making jokes anymore. I'm being for real. Both teams are kind of a question mark to see like if Geno Smith didn't have a fluke year, maybe he was a good quarterback to start off with or to lead the program with.
Yeah.
As well as, of course, Ashton Genty. I am rooting for Ashton Genty. I love Genty since Boise State, so I wouldn't mind seeing him succeed, of course. But it was cool to see him win. But I think this is like a good test right here. We saw the Chargers take down the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And a good game as well too. But with that being said, I do got the Chargers winning.
Damn.
I don't see Raiders taking this one. I'm sure as much as my brother would love for the Raiders to take it, I don't see it happening. But another shot.
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
That's right.
Damn.
I've got the Chargers winning this game. Final score 31-20.
I'll be nice. I'll go 28, 23.
23, all right.
And that completes our week 2 picks.
Yeah.
That's not that much exciting games compared to last week.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, football's football. You never know.
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
an exciting game out of nowhere.
An exciting game out of nowhere like the Bears and Vikings. Another game that was exciting. I'm sure for you guys, hating ass motherfuckers, Cowboys and Eagles.
Yeah.
But yeah, not as, at least on paper, not as much exciting games as last week. But anything can happen any given Thursday, Sunday, or Monday.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Got it, yeah.
all right. My name is XiX from XiX Sports Network.
Yeah, you can mistake it for bacon.
We'll see you guys next.